How's it going, everybody? It is your boy TT Casanova. I am back here with another YouTube video. As you guys can tell, today's topic: spirituality, good or bad. So let's talk about it. Archer, how do you feel about it?
Um, I think that spirituality can definitely be like is a good thing because it's a good thing in my life and stuff like that. But I think like everything in life, it has its dark sides and stuff like that. And if you don't tap into the right community or the right group of people to help deal with that dark side, then you might not make it out. You know what I'm saying? Like
What
you
you
may
mean?
not you may like reach like a point of no return
What you mean?
and stuff like that. Like for example, uh like a good example is something called like the dark night of the soul, where you basically think like, oh, none of this matters and stuff because, whatever your cosmological explanation of it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, you basically come to this idea that, oh, none of this matters and stuff, like this life doesn't matter and stuff like that. Like nothing you do in this life matters. If you don't surround yourself with good people, if you don't surround yourself with people who are making like the most out of their life and stuff like that, you won't really get out of that phase and stuff like that because like although you can't get out of that phase yourself, who you surround yourself with, like these moments and where like you're thinking like, yo, what if this stuff really doesn't matter and stuff like that, or what if like, all this stuff I'm doing is just I'm just going back to normal and stuff. I'm not ascending or descending. I'm just like going back to normal. You know what I'm
Uh,
saying? Like
yeah.
so like you can definitely deal with that yourself, like on your own. But like what that phase will tell you, what that phase will show you is who really is your real friend and who isn't your real friend. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? Because it's like basically like there's very people there's like a lot of people who will actually go there and sit there and agree like, yeah, bro, we need to disconnect the ego and stuff like that. We need to kill the ego and stuff. The ego is the problem. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the ego's fault that we're here. It's blah blah blah's fault that we're here. You know what I'm saying? It's this person's fault that we're here. Like it's playing the blame game essentially. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
That's what people do. People play the blame game and stuff when it comes to the dark side of the soul. But like it's not a point of blaming. It's just acceptance. You can accept something in your life without blaming a reason. There's some things that happen in life without it happening for a reason, like or not, but not at the cost of someone else's actions and stuff. Like
Mm.
the dark night of the soul is something that you have to go through in order to reach your new self. I'm saying I don't know if you ever heard of flatline on NoFap and stuff like that, but when you're on semen retention and stuff like that, right? You reach this level called flatline, and where basically like your brain, because you're not feeding your brain its scheduled dopamine intake, like you're not feeding it nasty stuff, you're not masturbating and stuff, you're not doing
Hold on,
lustful
hold
things
on.
and stuff like that.
I was
Like
gonna say
yeah,
I feel like that personally. Like that's arguable because the I feel like spirituality is a good thing. It's just the individuals make it bad. Sorry for cutting you off, but I had to speak. I was gone for a second. But I personally feel like it doesn't necessarily matter what you feed your mind. Everything is good in moderation. Even the most craziest shit can be advantageous if you use it in moderation. Like
so you think
I'm
even
not gonna say that,
nihilism?
but I'm gonna definitely say this right here. I feel like that spirituality only becomes bad, like I said, when the individual makes it bad. Like for example, there was, and as you see, the person that's probably going to be on the thumbnail, there was a person by the name of Eligio Bishop that was using spirituality to have a cult. In my personal opinion, I don't give a fuck about that. What I care about is that the people within this group were actually being like physically harmed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they were getting slapped up and shit like for not doing simple shit, and it made it seem so much more horrendous. Like it made it seem so much more nefarious for people to have their groups, no matter how weird or sinister others may deem it. It made it seem a lot more nefarious for spirituality as a whole, because if this is a person that's calling themselves three God, yelling I am God, people are going to use that phrase and make it very, very, very applicable to others who say the same thing in the manner of, oh, you gotta be, and no offense to that man or anybody who's involved in his group, you gotta be that crazy to say something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll do that shit. They'll stereotype you because of one person in the group, and I've noticed that with us as well, me as a black person and you as a partial black person. Like it's very very annoying to say the least. Like I've noticed that if people out here, and I've actually had these conversations with people that have had like genuine cults, like you know what I'm saying. Like remember when I had talked to you about that thing. I'm not gonna say it on here, but it was literally about the issue. I'm gonna word it properly. It was about having a harem essentially. You know what I'm saying? And I started.
Oh, that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's what I was getting at, and it was like I said something else because I meant something else, but I'm saying this for the purpose of people watching. So, so yeah, like I noticed if I was gonna have a group like that, it wouldn't be like people would not be getting hurt. It would not be people getting hurt, bruh. Like motherfuckers getting slapped up. Like it would be punishment for stupid shit, but punishment like that is just cruelty. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just fucking cruel. Like you don't have to smack someone for them to know that they did something wrong. You could sternly have a talking to them. They're probably still gonna fuck up, but at least you know you did your part. So if you are to take that route that time, I don't really know what to say, because then it's up to you. Because if a person don't listen and you know a way to make them listen that may not even be aggressive, shit, make them listen. But to stick it to the topic on if spirituality is bad, I just don't want people to outside of this conversation right now, to take people who are spiritual and think of them negatively because of one person or because of a group of people and their heinous action. Like, actually give everybody a fair shake. And the same thing can be said about religious people as well. A lot of them think because they're under the umbrella of Muslim or Christian or whatever the fuck they want to call themselves, they think that because they're under that banner that it keeps them from being able to be just a terrible person and being just as sinful as the other person who doesn't take the coat of that banner. You know what I'm saying? So basically they're using their religion to cover the mistakes they did and make it seem like they're better than another person because they woke up at a certain time or because they chose something at a certain time. Like that doesn't make you better, that just makes you you. So, like, you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
personally think that spirituality itself isn't bad. I just think that people take a lot of shit out of context and use one person's opinion as the majority too much.
yeah, no, definitely, bro. Like, and I'd have to agree with you. Like, I don't think it's spirituality that's necessarily the bad thing. I think it's the spiritual community that I think is like bad and stuff like
No.
that. Because I cut myself off from the spiritual community. You cut yourself off from the spiritual community. I cut myself off from the spiritual community. And say like, I used to be heavy, deep, deep, deep into
I
that.
feel like can we state our reasons though? Like, cause I don't want people to get to think that we just were people who just cut it off because it's like, oh, we don't. You know what I'm saying? The reason why I stopped claiming myself spiritual, it doesn't mean I gave up my spiritual beliefs. It's just I started realizing that people who were dubbing themselves as spiritual were doing a lot of things that were just fucking terrible and using spirituality as the excuse. The same way some people would do some shit that is just controlling or just fucking, like, for example, some people who aren't religious. Have you ever noticed there are certain people in religious sects that will condemn you just because you think different? That's the same exact thing that the
Yeah,
spiritual community was doing. Like that shit was an issue.
like the people who said I was gonna go to hell for meditating.
Like that shit's an issue because it's like, dude, it's I'm sitting here, and the core of meditation is to really just quiet your mind and to have focus and to envision the things you want, regardless of what you use, right? Here's
Yeah.
my mentality on it, Archer, personally. And I'm gonna say this I'm gonna say I'm referencing the person that told you you're going to help. You're so fucked up that you decided to make an activity or practice that had nothing to do with hurting anybody involve itself with hurting someone. Like, that's how fucked up you are if you were to have this skill. I'm having this skill and using it for a different purpose. You are so fucked up you think I'm like you and are willing to spin a goddamn tornado through a city because my day was bad today, all because I'm meditating. Like that's immature as fuck. And I feel like a lot of people who come from that mentality of, oh, you're evil, you're gonna do this, you're gonna go this, you're gonna go where, I think they lack understanding of what they're talking about. It's the same way it's the same way certain religious people get scared when they hear the word voodoo, when the word voodoo in their language is actually just means spirit or God. Like it's literally the same shit as it literally just means God. They're practicing spirituality essentially. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what the fuck is the difference between them and the way they congregate in their churches versus a religious person who's under the group of Christianity or Islam that congregate in their mosques or churches? What's the difference besides what you do inside the area? You know what I'm saying? There is no difference. Y'all both have the same, you know what I'm saying? Y'all both meet up on the same day, do the same shit, probably have the same similar praying songs or how y'all praise. So it's like, why are we sitting here condemning something when, one, we have no understanding of it, and two, it may just be way more similar to what you do than you actually want to take credit for.
Definitely, bro.
So,
And like,
yep, yep.
I could speak out on a situation myself. Like, the reason why I left like the spiritual community and stuff like that is the same reason why I left the order of Sufism and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I realized that like, basically, first of all, like, I basically realized that like they were using spirituality as an excuse to not hold themselves accountable for their actions. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're basically like, hey, I'm freaking like I was in this one spiritual group, this one spiritual Discord and stuff like that, and where they were all claiming to be Egyptian deities. Like when people were like claiming like, oh,
I don't feel like
I'm
that's necessarily. I'm sorry, I had to cut you off there, man. I'm personally passionate about shit like that. I don't feel like the past life claiming is the issue. I think it's personally the actions they take within this life. I feel like that's what makes them like that. That's what's making them crazy. That's what makes them seem so crazy. Like y'all are out here. I was gonna say sorry for cutting you off here, but that's what makes them seem so crazy. Like y'all are out here literally saying that you are better than somebody when both of y'all could literally make like due to the theory of different aspects of ourselves. You may just be an offshoot of that person. You never fucking know. You know what I'm saying? And then you could be staring at another person who has the same exact path as you. You know what I'm saying? So you could never know. My thing is people need to stop taking this mentality without adding some humbleness to it. You need to have balance. If there is no balance in your mentality, regardless of how spiritual or religious you are, you tend to teeter and become like a nuisance to both parties. Not even gonna lie to you. If you're too disagreeable, you become a nuisance to the disagreeables. And if you're too agreeable, you become a fucking annoyance and a yes man to the agreeables. You have to have some things you say yes and some things you say no to. But don't choose that moment to have your no as a, oh, I'm better than you, or, oh, because I'm this, you can't get to this level, or I'm at this level, you will never reach it. Like, nigga, what are you, a Super Saiyan? Like, bro, we have the same shit.
We bleed the same.
Like, we breathe the same. We literally breathe the same and breathe the same. But it's like, dude, what is the difference? Like, we're all humans doing what we believe to be religious practices, no matter if we call them spiritual or religious. Like, and then we, like I said, I'm a sucker for definitions of words, and then we never break down the definitions of what doing something religiously is. That's why I'm like, fine, I'm not even going to explain it, because it's too much of a tongue tie, and some people will get caught in the translation. Search up, for the people, here's your homework. Search up the definition of what it means to do something religiously, or to do an act religiously, or to worship. Search up what both of those are and comment. If you don't comment, then at least have it within your mind on what both of those are, and tell me if you are doing these things, the things you may not deem in your religion. Now, people that take that and think that I'm trying to take a shot at them, I'm not. I'm genuinely trying to bring awareness to the fact that you really think that you're only doing X, Y, and Z, but the truth is you're doing the whole alphabet and you have no awareness. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't mean become woke, get woke. No, that it just means, yo, be more mindful of the things you're doing, of what you're studying, and of the other places you try to condemn. Anyways, let's slide over here to the group chat called Plethora real quick. They added some comments on my video when I added the invitation to invite people to speak. They had a person named Highlight said a lot of this new age stuff been washed. I can agree a little bit with that. Another person named Bashara the Saint said people who like to put spirituality in a box when it's new ages turn things into a trend. And to turn things into a trend and a look when spirituality is a journey, no matter how many crystals or tarot cards you mean tarot you use, you won't prosper without doing the work. Sorry, I said it wrong. But you won't prosper without doing the work. Basically what he's saying is faith without works is always going to be a fail, no matter what you claim it is. You know what I'm saying? So, and here is what Avi had said, or AV Queen, SAV Queen. She said that's because spirituality is the box. There's more than life than just the spirit, aka the collective consciousness. Hey, did you know a lot of people say witchcraft and spirituality is two separate things? When honestly, like I said, everything comes back to one. Because honestly, all of these things are really using the same concept, just in different manners. Like some people pray, others meditate. Some people pray and meditate. It literally ties into the same goal. I mean, not the same.
Yeah, I had Kai tell me that praying is casting a spell.
Huh?
I had Kai tell me that praying is casting a spell.
It can be used that way, yes. Because think about it. Think about the concept of what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like you're putting your hands together or you're putting your head to the ground. I personally pray all three ways of meditation, prostration, and regular prayer. But regardless of what you're doing that for the goal. Notice I didn't say the action or the intent. I said goal. You're doing that for the goal of getting your prayer heard. You know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like you're trying to send a telepathic message to source, and it's basically a SOS. Help me! I'm in a, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to manifest this. I need this, or God, I ask for you to bring this to my life. I ask for you to take these things out of my life. I ask for you to show me this, God. Like all of those are different telepathic messages that you're sending up through your prayer. No matter, even if you're voicing it, you could voice it. It could be the same shit. If it's thought, it's telepathic. If its voice is audio. You know what I'm saying? It's audio. So there's no difference. It's just like it's the same thing as an affirmation. It's the same thing as an affirmation, as well as the same thing as meditation. The only thing is, like I said, remember the concept I told you of red and blue shit? It's just two colors splashed together and make purple. That is what I'm saying that a lot of these groups get some of their concepts from. It's two groups smashed into purple. I don't necessarily mean the same thing as syncretism, but it definitely comes very, very close to that concept. But yeah, they said another person, King Joker said they also don't know the difference between spirit and soul. That's why they tend to remain in that spot. They remain in that box. Someone said I said the same. Another person said, well, the same person said, I was low-key debating with somebody about this last night. I real life threw up the deuce and slowly exited the convo. Basically, he said he realized that the person was not worthy of talking to them in the form of having that conversation because they had no understanding of which he was coming, like the perspective of which he was coming from. King Joker said, I done gave up on debating a while ago. Same a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I still like doing it just for the rush of having someone notice, yo, it's not that deep, you know what I'm saying? But I don't let it take over me. There's nothing to argue about. Either you get it or you don't, and you will remain trapped till you do. And I feel like that is definitely true. Like people will stay in this cycle of consistently judging each other and hating each other and calling each other all of these different names when the truth is they, you know what I'm saying, it's just the same. It's literally, it doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying, because regardless it's semi the same concepts no matter where you go. Someone said witchcraft is a practice of alchemy in a way, and spirituality is the sect of beings who learn the fundamentals of how to enlighten and evolve their way of life. The only issue is it doesn't really cater to the soul. Okay, someone said there was a response to the I gave up on a while ago. Facts, I wasn't even debating. I was just letting him drop his point of view, and I said thank you for your view and explanation. At this point, oh my god, I hate when people do that. But something in me wants me to put my 2 cents in because he's trying to teach people. Oh shit, the bull jive. And like I said, I'm like, nah, man, you misleading the folks. He straight up Akaharu the conversation. He straight up Akaharu the conversation sometimes. So I'm Akaharu back. Okay. Like it's hold on. Going to stuff like the ball of deep Gnostics without the realizing that some of these ways of life are close practices for a reason. Facts. Like for real. Like a lot of that is true. I give King Joker this a lot. This person said the reason why witchcraft and a lot of other practices are close practices is because a lot of people are not worthy. Facts. And that is not based off of just a person saying, oh, you're worthy, you're worthy. No, it's based off the fact that if these people genuinely were to hold these abilities, do you not understand how fucked the world would be? Like, it's like giving hold on, wait a second. It's like getting the world baddest fucking kid a box of matches and saying, play. Like, that's what that is. Go ahead, Archer. Take it away.
Yeah, even Sufism to a certain extent is a close practice. Not being say like, oh, you can't join Sufism.
Yeah,
but,
like
I've heard from many people that say that you have to be chosen to be a Sufi and stuff like that. It's not something that like you just like. It's not something that like you go to it. It comes to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Like it's similar with Tariqa, which is like an order. and stuff, like a certain order of Sufism, or like a sheikh, which is like a spiritual master and stuff like that. Like
Also,
you
if you
don't
guys
go to
don't know
them,
what
they go to
Sufism
you.
is, it's Archer's path. That's what he chooses. So just letting y'all know so y'all don't get confused in translation. Go ahead.
Yeah. So like basically like even like when it comes to like a tariqa, which is like an order of Sufism, when it comes to like a sheikh, which is like a spiritual master that you want to study under or pledge allegiance to, you don't go to them, they go to you. You know what I'm saying? They find you, type shit.
That sounds
You know what I'm
very
saying?
like
So
that
like
sounds a lot like the like fraternities. For real. Like I'm not even
I
kidding
guess
because they say that they actually have said that about a few fraternities. Like you don't go to them, they go to you. And surprisingly, a
yeah.
few fraternities actually have, like, not even fraternities, but people. I said fraternities like it was the whole group, but a few people that were in fraternities actually have scouted me in that way. So I definitely see what you're saying in that regard. Like, yeah, man, unworthy people who get hold of certain shit, nada. It is a very, very bad call. That is like I said, handing the world's baddest
It's like
kid a box of matches and saying, play. Anyways, go ahead, Archie.
yeah, so I would say that spirituality, when you break it down to a T, is just looking inward and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because like the term for spirituality in Islam is like called, well, the term for mysticism is called al tasawwuf, which basically means to be clothed in wool, because like the mystics and like the early ascetics back in the day, they used to wear wool and stuff like that. So like that's where the term Sufi comes from. It comes from the term suf, which means wool and stuff like that. And yeah, that's basically where it comes from and stuff like that. But one of the terms for Islamic spirituality is called marifa, which means inner knowledge and stuff like that. So there's an outer knowledge that exists. You know, we have the Quran, we have Sunnah, we have fiqh, we have sayings from the saints and the scholars and stuff like that. So you have tafsir, we have what's it called, adhab, madhab and stuff like that. So we have like an array of outer knowledge and stuff like that. But what marifa basically is all about is, okay, you have that outer knowledge. Now it's time to meditate on it. Now it's time to look inwards upon it. Now it's time to internalize it and stuff. Too many people I see, like they take the outer knowledge and they start preaching to other people like, oh, this is the outer knowledge, this is that, this is the truth, this is blah blah blah. Like this is this is that. And I'm not gonna disagree with you, obviously, because if I disagree I'd be a kafir. But like I'm just saying that like before taking that step towards like going outside of yourself, you gotta take that step to apply the outer knowledge. You gotta take that step towards inside of yourself. Now, so spirituality, what I like about it and why I'm both spiritual and religious and stuff like that is because they kind of need each other to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? I can't see how they don't exist about they can't exist about each other. I feel like everyone is spiritual and mystical to a certain extent, because you see even Orthodox Muslims, they're obsessed with these jinn stories and stuff like that. They're obsessed with like these like mystical experiences and stuff like that, and they're obsessed with like these spiritual stuff and stuff like that. Like they're just they're basically like, even people who don't consider themselves spiritual in the Islamic community, they become attracted to these spiritual mystical things like jinn. I was talking about my recent YouTube video, which just cracked 100 views. Thank you for everyone for that. That
Whoop.
if you want to focus on
Yo, give a round of
mysticism,
applause to that boy Archer one time. One time, everyone applause. One time, one time. Alright, go ahead.
if you want to focus on the unseen, if you want to focus on like the mystical parts of life and stuff like that, don't focus on something that's negative. You know what I'm saying? Focus on something that's positive. Focus on your heart. Focus on your spirit. Focus on God, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Like why are you focusing on jinns? You know what I'm saying? Like jinns don't benefit us in any way. You know what I'm saying? They only cause harm to us.
That's depending on the
They're really
person.
only meant to
Let's not
trick
get
us.
caught. Let's not get caught in that now. Singularity opinion does not mean no.
Yeah.
I just had to say that. Anyways, take it away, Penny.
Yeah. Basically like you just gotta focus on the positive parts of the unseen, you know, because Rumi said that everyone sees the unseen and what's proportional to their heart. You know what I'm saying? So what's proportional to your heart and what's proportional to your heart chakra and stuff like that is what you're gonna see in the unseen. You know what I'm saying? So you might see this, you might see that, you might feel this. It's more of like a feeling and stuff like that in Islam. It's more of like the unseen is more of like a feeling and stuff, like you'll feel these new emotions and stuff like that, and you'll wonder where they come from, and you realize that these emotions are coming from source. The source is putting the emotions in your heart and stuff like that for you to like get closer with him. And like angels and like you're wondering what this voice of reason is in your mind and stuff like that. That's telling you to like stay away and stay calm and stay sober and stay chaste and stuff like that. And you realize they're angels and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So like angels and like God and stuff like that, and the spirit and heart and stuff like that. Like it, I'm not gonna say it's simple, but I'm not gonna say it's complicated. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like you like know when your spirit is talking to you. You know when your guide is trying to connect with you and stuff like that. And like I connected with my spirit guide recently, and like he basically like showed me like today that what's gonna happen is like the sun is gonna be green and it's gonna be like over the horizon and stuff like that, and it's gonna show like multiple rays and stuff like that. And like I was doing a meditation today, and I reached like this level where I was like asleep almost in the meditation. Like I was asleep and stuff like that, and I seen like my heart chakra, and it was surrounded by red, right? It was surrounded by this red aura. So like I was basically thinking that, you know, what's happening is that I'm trying to reach my heart. I'm trying to reach like within my heart and stuff, but my lower self is stopping me. It's trying to protect me and stuff like that. But it's not a good type of protection. It's a bad type of protection.
What do you mean by that? I'm a little bit confused on that one. What do you mean by that?
Like a bad type of protection?
Yeah.
You mean that I think that what's gonna happen to you can change you, and I don't want that. I don't want it to change you and stuff like that. Like it's trying to protect me from change and stuff like that. When it's like it's not like the change that they think is bad. It's a change that's good. You know what I'm saying? It's a real change and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, like I don't want you to like enter your heart chakra and stuff like that. That's why like the red was surrounding the green and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want you to enter your heart chakra because I fear, because the root chakra is all about fear and lust and stuff like that, right? So it's like it's basically saying like I fear that you may be a different person, or you may change once you come in encounter with the person. I said all that for a reason. When you're going through your spiritual experiences and stuff like that, when it comes to your heart and it comes to your mind and stuff like that, and especially your body, I want to say that like you should never focus too much on what the outside is. You know what I'm saying? Again, the community and stuff like that will always have their opinion. What matters is your own experience, and that's what I like about spirituality. It focuses on the individual's experience. You know what I'm saying? That's what Marifa is all about. Marifa is all about your inner knowledge. And so it's knowledge that's unique to you. You know, but like one thing that you have to realize is that knowledge that you get inside of you, it can't contradict the outer knowledge by any means. You know what I'm saying? Like at least from a religious perspective, you know what I'm saying? It can't contradict the outer knowledge.
I was gonna say yeah, because the concept of duality is very, very, you know, contradiction.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like at least from a religious perspective, that's what I learned. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people who they get too deep, like the old sheikh I used to watch on YouTube and stuff like that, like who used to be like the tariqa the order that I was a tariqa basically means order. Like the order that I used to be a part of and stuff like that. Like his inner knowledge basically made it so like he was like stretching out like the scriptures. You know what a stretch is, right? Like when somebody like reaching way too far. Like, yo, you're reaching, fam.
Yeah.
Like he was reaching like way too far in the scriptures and stuff like that. He was reaching way too far. Like, oh, this is an instance of fana. Fana is basically like annihilation, like passing away, like dying before dying. Like, oh, this is an instance of fana in the scriptures. This is blah blah blah. This is how this picture is spiritual. Like, bruh, sometimes it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you can definitely go too deep into the spirituality and stuff where sometimes things are what they are. Sometimes you can't look too deep into it and stuff like that. Sometimes life, like its only purpose is for it to happen. You know? Like, although like we like to say like everything has a reason or everything has a deeper meaning to it, like we gotta be very careful for words because some people take that everything way too seriously, fam. Some people take that everything way too serious. I don't know if you can agree, but sometimes some things in life happen because they're just meant to happen. You know,
Mm.
you can't just overthink it. You know, so that's the one thing I would say is like bad about the spiritual community is that it enforces overthinking. You know what I'm saying? If you've ever been in a spiritual community, you've noticed it's full of overthinkers, myself included. You know what I'm saying? Like it's full of overthinkers, people who overthink things. You know what I'm saying? When like you want to reach that level of balance and stuff, one thing I like about spirituality is that it ties back to the overall meaning of life, which is balance. You know, like if you're too in the 4D where you're like, oh, I don't need a job, I don't need to go to work, I don't need to get money, I don't need to survive and stuff, because that's all egotistical shit. That's all 3D shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna really make it because our ancestors, who we praise so much in the spiritual community, I've noticed that the people in the spiritual community praise our ancestors so much. They still had to hunt, bro. They were merchants, they were tradesmen, they were carpenters, they were Jesus was a carpenter, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's like many people's spirit guides. You know what I'm saying? For some people that's their God, you know what I'm saying? Like, so he was a carpenter and stuff like that. Like where we were tradesmen, we were all these things, we ate meat, you feel me? These high vibrational ancestors we keep on praising and stuff like that, they didn't just do spiritual shit all day. They actually went and did something for a living. You know, so like I don't like when spirituality gets like conflated with the sin of sloth. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
spirituality can be very lazy and stuff. And that's why I'm really happy that in Islam monasticism, which is the act of being a monk and stuff like that, where you sit in a monastery and you pray and you meditate all day. You know what I'm saying? You meditate on God's word. You meditate on the name of God and stuff. You pray and you meditate all day. You fast all day and stuff like that. I'm so glad that practice is banned. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel like
because
that's very controversial in a way, you know, because it's like regardless, at some point you're gonna need to sit still in order to comprehend what's fully going on around you. So I feel like that in a way gives people a reason to move forward. Yeah, but it's very very hard for them to be still. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like there's so much movement going on, and because of y'all being normalized to that movement, it feels normal. But I also feel like there's a bit of moving too much. Like I said, everything needs to have some form of moderation. So maybe I'm wrong here. I need to do more education on it. But I will definitely say, from my understanding as of right now, it seems as if y'all have no real time to be still with the information and really take it in. I feel like spirituality gives people the freedom to do that. Like
yeah,
to take.
spirituality definitely gives a lot of freedom for sure. And
That's
that's the
probably
ultimate.
why it's so popular now, because people realize how, in a way, it is liberating. You know, like it is liberating in a way rather than just being so limiting or constricting as some people will put it.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they have very 3D, like worldly, low vibrational ways of liberating themselves. Like, oh, I'm gonna suck 100 dicks today, or I'm gonna freaking
I don't feel like that.
I'm a,
I was gonna say
I'm a
that like I said, bro. It's the only thing is, to me personally, I don't care about none of that shit. It's just, is your relationship with God good enough to where you could look at yourself in the mirror and say, I know God is my friend. If you can look yourself in the mirror and say that and know that you're comfortable in saying it and it doesn't feel off and you're not just convincing yourself of something, like you're actually giving yourself the time to really take it in, I feel like, real talk, not even I know that it can be so powerful to the point because, like for me, for example, I'm a spiritual person. Whenever I get into conversations with certain religious people, I've noticed that they'll like, because of their pride in their religion, they'll almost try to like because I have more conversations than just what you, Archer. So don't, you know, this does not apply to you. But I'm just clarifying. But yeah, I've had, oh my god, my bad, y'all. I've had certain religious people actually like try to force their belief on me in a way because it's like they feel as if like I'm lacking something when it's like I'm not lacking anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm perfectly fine. I'm able to say I'm God's friend without having some type of stagnation or feeling of, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like I shouldn't have said that. I feel like that is a true statement. I personally have a knowing of that as a true statement because my life honestly has been very, very catered to and coddled. Even though if I was a regular person, it would be fucking hard as shit. I'm not gonna lie. Like I feel like that definitely speaks onto it, and because of the massive amount of friends that I have. But that's what we're gonna cap off this video too, right about now. I was gonna say that's what we're gonna cap off this live too. The conversation is still open for you guys to have. Um, it was a good conversation. Thank you so much for giving me this convo, Archer. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you being one of the only people that were available for this, it feels good to at least be able to get this live stream that was planned out of the way because now I can be able to trust you with scheduled shit. So yeah, yeah, it's all in good fun. Even though I know people have lives, but like I said, you guys take your time, go on, have a good day, talk about it,